strong conservative. He's right on all of the issues and on and on and on. And he's not. He's just simply not. And the thing that really bothers me is I'm as big of a Trump supporter as there is. Now I'm in a position where I'm probably going to vote against somebody who has his endorsement, and that bothers me. But let me give you a quick story. So when Lauren Boebert decided that she was going to be in too tough of a race over on the Western Slope, she decided to come over and run in the district that Ken Buck had been in.
Right.
When she announced that she was going to do that, Dave Williams dug into her, said that was wrong. It was a bad move. She was a carpetbagger coming over here to do all of that. And he was saying that stuff because he already had somebody in that district that he wanted because that person owed him, and all of this kind of thing. And she's coming over, going to ruin the chances of his guy winning in that district. So that's the backstory. But then when Trump endorsed Lauren Boebert, oh, now he's endorsing Lauren Boebert. And I'm like, but why was it when she came over, you weren't endorsing her, but only when Trump endorses her, are you doing that? It just, that to me showed a lot of the character of this guy. I mean,
Are you talking about it on your show? Can you?
yes, yes. Oh my God, yes. And a lot. And
I don't know these. I know a tiny bit about Jeff Crank, not a lot, but I
the
would.
big thing that they attack him on is, the sponsor of part of his radio show, and he worked for them, was this group, Americans for Prosperity. Well, I don't like them. And they were put together by the Koch brothers. I don't like the Koch brothers. And I especially didn't like them after they were at the Broadmoor and it turned out to be never Trump people. So, yeah, I don't like the people Jeff worked for. One of them since died. But I don't hold that against Jeff, because that would be like somebody saying, well, Richard works for Cumulus, and Cumulus believes this and this and this and this. And I'm like, well, I work for him. That doesn't mean you can assign all of what they've ever said and done to me. That's not fair. I've never heard Jeff say that he was in favor of open borders. I've never heard him say that he was anti-Trump or anti-Second Amendment. I've never heard a single word about Dave Williams owning a gun, firing a gun, or doing any of this stuff. It's bad enough when I see Democrats do that. When I see Republicans doing that, it first annoys me and then it angers me. And that's where he's at on that.
Who do you think has the best chance to win?
I think Crank does, but more importantly, after this little deal with the flag, I think that is going to motivate people to contribute to the Democrat in that race and to start supporting Democrats out there. And if he ended up being the candidate, I think there's a chance, not a great chance, but I think there's a chance Dave Williams would lose that seat to a Democrat, which would really hurt us in Congress to have one more seat in Democrat hands. Whereas if Jeff wins that race, I think he'll easily defeat any Democrat that were to come along.
Thank you for sharing. I wasn't informed. I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and figure out who I'm going to vote for. So I figured you had more insight than
But Barb, you know what? This is actually very helpful, because you right there, that's the average person out there. Yeah. The average person out there, some of them listen to me, some of them don't, but they've got to make their mind up on some of this literature and the things that are said. And they have no idea that some of the stuff that is, especially in his flyers, is just a flat out lie, or it's a misrepresentation. Ask yourself this: why was Dave Williams kicked off the Trump campaign? If Dave Williams is, if Jeff Crank is so horrible, why was he the MC at one of the Trump rallies here in Colorado Springs? I mean, nobody's out there telling people that, but I am. I mean, there's a newspaper article in the Gazette talking about how they kicked Williams off the Trump campaign in 2016. But you won't see that in the little newsletter that he sends out.
I didn't know that. Why did they do that? Do you know?
Well, because he was using his position as being on the Trump campaign to endorse other candidates. And none of them had been endorsed by Trump. he was just trying to cash in on that little bit of notoriety, and they said, nope, you can't do that, and got rid of him.
Wow.
And honestly, I doubt that when Trump endorsed him, Trump even knew that. Much less did he know that, they had Crank as a speaker at one MC at one of his rallies. I think it came down to you get the right person who surrounds Trump, and you say AFP and Koch brothers, and that's enough.
Right.
It's
Well,
just sad. I mean,
Trump trusted a lot of people back then that burned him.
yes.
A lot of people.
And I think most people would agree with you and me saying that Trump's not a great judge of character, and there have been plenty of people, whatever that Scaramucci guy or whatever. That guy now makes a career out of bashing Trump. I mean, half these people, that's what they do. Trump trusted them; they were not trustworthy. He gets rid of them, and now they make money by bashing Trump.
Right.
I wish he had better discernment, but he doesn't. But I still love the guy. Going to vote for him. Not even a shadow of doubt about that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's see. I need to change my clock. I have one. We reconfigured things here differently. Or did we? Oh, wait.
Did they change the Wi-Fi recently?
Not that I'm aware of. Are you having a problem? I can get Bill. Do you want me to do that?
It's a problem for me.
I mean, we set up
Used to be for COS exclamation.
I wonder what I'm hooked up on here. Give me just one second, because I can't I always use that for my clock, and now I can't use that for my clock. So I'm gonna have to use my phone, I guess. All right. I think I'm ready if you are. Barb, are you good to go?
Yeah.
I am as well. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb and you'll find her on most popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Richard, as always, I'm excited about today's show. First of all, we're going to talk about what the market's doing. It's been a little strange. It's up and down. So the topic of this first segment is, will prices fall as interest rates are rising? And then the next topic is about, and I get this question an awful lot, the top reasons why a house is not selling and what you can do to fix it. And then the third topic is another one that I get a lot of questions about, just because people don't sell homes every day. It might be once or twice in their lifetime that they do it. And if they bought it back before the late 90s, they're still in the mindset that, when they sell, they have to pay taxes on the profit of the sale. So we're going to dispel that myth and talk about all the details of that. And the very last thing is kind of a spicy one, but basically I'm going to talk about the top 5 ways real estate agents do things to stop sales and what you can do about it. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. For sure.
You as well as me listening and the other listeners finding out about it. Now, Barb, the Fed has announced that it's going to keep raising interest rates until inflation drops to 2.0%. With it currently being way above that number, what impact will the housing market realize over rising interest rates?
Well, it does affect the market because it affects the buyer's ability to afford a home. So we've lost a good 10 to 20% of our buyer population. even though the Gen X, Gen Z, Gen whatever, the younger generation and the boomer generation, basically, they're coming of age, they're getting jobs, they're in a position where they should be investing in real estate, but the affordability factor really kicks in with these higher interest rates. And some of them are just sitting on the sidelines, hoping and praying that prices are going to drop or the rates are going to come back down. And I don't see the rates coming back down. As of this morning, the rates were sitting at, for a 30-year fixed conventional, 7.17%, VA and FHA in the mid sixes. And so that's the new reality. And that's actually, looking back in time, not a horrible interest rate. So the immediate thought is it going to translate to lower prices? And I don't know why, but it's not the case. And it was funny. I found a chart online about sales volume, just looking back 5 years. And the big surprise to me is the volume of sales going on right now in real estate is very comparable to what it was right after COVID broke out, and everybody just kind of stopped the world, and there was no traffic on the roads, and there was so much uncertainty, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Now, that's not the reason now. It's not about uncertainty, it's about the lack of affordability for homes. There are still areas where prices are going up. And so since the fall of 2022, interest rates have doubled. That most people buy on payments and they can't afford to do it. Now, did the increase in interest rates bring inflation down? Is there light on the end of the horizon about this or not? And I don't think so. It doesn't appear to be working, especially with all the spending that's going on in the government. As an example, I'm sure you heard about this, Richard, that the government spent $7 billion to get 7 electric charging stations.
Amazing. I mean, when we look at the amount of money that is spent, it is stunning. But then we look at what it's spent on, it's even more stunning and disappointing, quite honestly.
Yeah, imagine what an average person or average business person could do with that kind of money, right? They would probably invest it wisely and not waste it somehow. So the net effect of inflation coupled with the high interest rates, coupled with the high home prices, is it definitely creates demand destruction on the buyers, just because simply because they can't afford the payment. They're not getting paid enough. So you really have to make well over $100,000 per household to afford a basic home these days. And it's really sad for me to see that. Inventory is also up. So compared to last year, the number of available homes has gone up about 10%. That's quite a bit compared to a year ago when the rates were also high. But don't let that dissuade you. You just need somebody, if you are planning on making a move, to help you decide how to position the home to get the most money in the market that we're in right now. And we can help people in any market. The market's not really crashing, it's kind of holding its own. But there is less demand. So it's taking more time for homes to sell. So if you are thinking of making a move, one of the things that we offer is a free in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale. I have over 27,915 buyers in waiting just on my little website. And typically I could find anywhere from 1 to 700 buyers that are a high match for your home. And we can talk about that, as well as I show up with multiple cash offers. So you can decide, do I want a cash offer or do I want to go on the market and see what the general market will pay for my home? So if you'd like to talk to us, the best way to reach us is go to barbhasthebuyers.com and fill out any form and we will get back to you. And if you're planning on moving later and you'd like to know about any one of my free reports, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on that green button that says free reports. You can download any one of them and just give us a call. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, we're talking about the impact of rising interest rates on the housing market. So, Barb, should buyers wait until prices come down?
Well, I just don't think it's going to happen. If it hasn't happened in the past 2 years in this higher rate environment, it's not going to happen much in the future. The prices might be a little bit flat, possibly. So I think what I find a lot of the younger generations are doing is they're stacking up cash. They're saving money for more down payment. They're getting help from family members contributing to their down payment in order to get into home ownership. That way they can take advantage of the prices going up and have ownership while they're paying the mortgage down. I don't see the rates changing very much. I've heard some of the people on the news station say, oh, the end of the year, but that's what they said about the summer, and it's still not happening. And if you're a seller right now, it isn't wise to actually price your home with the intent of, quote, having negotiating room. Now, yes, you can always come down from a higher price, but the problem is if you do that, the cat's already out of the bag, basically, right? The buyer population, which you're going to get most eyes on the home with regard to price and pictures in the first 10 days to 30 days. And that is the very first showing, the online presentation. So if the buyers don't like the price, if they don't like the photos, boom, they're moving on and you never have a chance again. And it really has changed from when I started back in the day in the late 90s when I became a licensed real estate agent. Buyers had to physically go look at homes to see if they wanted them. That is not the case anymore. Buyers are deciding based on the online presentation whether or not they're even going to leave their fuzzy bunny slippers and drive by the house, let alone ask to see it. So that's why you have to price your home what I call realistically versus optimistically in order to get the most money. Overpricing will end up over time getting you less money when you sell your home. Even the National Association of Realtors did a study on that, and they found if you overprice your home and then slowly walk the price down, you're going to net less money. Let me tell you a story about one of my clients. We actually priced the home what I thought was really very, very realistic. It was right on target with similar sales. However, after the initial flurry, some people at the open house, maybe one or two showings, nothing was happening. She goes, I need to sell my home. What am I going to do? I said, well, the market speaks to you. If you're getting very few showings, you're probably 3 to 5% off. So we made a 4% price change. We went from 370 to 355. Boom, right away we got an offer. Now the offer was less than asking. However, next day we had a showing and they were going to bring an offer, and I was able to play mom against dad and get them both up to their maxed offer, and we ended up selling for very, very close to asking price just a few days after that. So longer days on market's really not your friend, even though the average days on market right now has expanded. And it's different in different areas. Like if you go to certain parts of town, the more desirable zip codes or school districts or whatever, those tend to be lower days on market. And absolutely, your marketing has to be top notch. I get calls from people all the time that hired somebody else and they're not happy with why their house isn't selling. And so they asked me to come fix it. I can't do anything for them while they're currently under an agreement with their current agent. But one guy said, well, they offered me a really good deal on commission. And my answer was, you know, uh, if you're offered a low commission, like 4 or 4.5%, if it doesn't sell, 4.5% of zero is still zero. It's not going to work. And I gave him good tips on why his home wasn't selling. He probably took it to his existing agent. But at the point I'm making is you're best off being absolutely right out of the gate with pricing, with marketing, with the whole package. And that's what we help our clients do. We call it the 3 Ps. We help them prepare so you don't get your home rejected based on the online presentation. We help them price it right so your home is not rejected based on the online presentation. And presenting it, getting the right photos is absolutely critical. If you mess that up, even the littlest thing, like a little bit of drama paint, could be enough for a buyer to turn their nose up about it, and you won't even know about it. You'll never know who those people are. So it's always best to make sure when you present to the market, everything is top notch. So if you'd like to call us and sit down and talk with us about what to do, what not to do, to get the most money when you sell your home, we'll go over all the closing costs. We'll also give you a really good idea what price range. We even show up with a handful of cash offers on your home to give you that certainty of it selling. Plus, we're able to present at least 700 highly targeted buyers that'd be a high match for your home. Give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, just call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we're going to be discussing the top reasons a house is not selling and what you can do to fix it. Stay tuned for that. Hey, Barb, I don't know if this was a mistake or not. So I'm looking at your graphic and I'm listening to what you're saying. And your graphic said we can match up 100 people, but then you said 7 there, that one there.
Yeah, it's actually 7.
Oh, choose 7. Got it. My mistake. All right.
Well, I should correct that. And I'll have, thank you for pointing that out, up to 700. So
And it's not a
what's
criticism. I
changed?
was just kind of looking out for you.
Thank you. What's changed is with some, not all of the listings, we do an upgraded position on Zillow, and they have, 200,000 buyers, unique buyers a month. And if we upgrade it, they'll find 600 that are a match in
Wow.
them as well.
Oh my gosh. Mention real quick.
But I don't want to tell my secrets on the radio.
Don't tell anybody.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I'll have Griff fix that. I know my voice is a little off. I can't figure out if I think it's all the pollen. I mean, my truck has a green dust covering inside and out.
I fight allergies all the time, so I completely understand, and but it adds to the natural sound. You know what I mean? If your voice was absolutely perfect every single week, I don't think people would buy into it, you know?
Okay. Because I'm like, ah.
I think everybody's fighting allergies this year.
Yeah, it's really bad. And then we
My
got
daughter has never fought allergies in her life, and she's been fighting them this week.
well, it goes down in your throat, and I'm like, what is going on?
Drink more water.
I got my lemon water, I got my iced tea, I got all my weapons with me. Hey, Jose.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. I got my Trump cup. Ha.
Makes it taste better.
Mark, my husband, went golfing with my brother and his friends yesterday. And he gave everybody a red Trump golf ball. It's actually, it says MAGA on it. It's pretty cool.
Do you have any big plans coming up?
Oh, I got big plans. So we leave on the 20th to go to Destin, Florida. One of my older brothers is turning 70 and retiring this month.
Awesome.
So he doesn't know all of his siblings are coming. So
Okay.
we're gonna
Yay.
meet, we're gonna meet in Destin, Florida, and we got him a nice guitar. He's a guitar player. Got him a nice guitar as a birthday present. And so I'm looking forward to it, just beach time sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And
Are
then
you going to need to take that weekend off from recording, or
I don't
are
think
we good?
the only show I'm gonna miss, which I might just reschedule it. Let me see. Because I'll be on the road. I already tried that. Clearly that doesn't work. So we get home.
It was tough.
Oh, it was ridiculous. We get home Monday, the 24th, and then I can record on the 25th. And then we hit the road, go back to 29 Palms to bring Max home. So
That's a quick turnaround. If you're not feeling up to it, you got to let us know.
okay. But anyway,
Even if it's that day, just let us know.
okay. Well, I'll be all fresh and all that. Okay, so July the 2nd, I'll be on the road. So I'm wondering, do you have availability on Wednesdays at all? I know the 4th is a holiday. Does that mean you get the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and 7th and 8th off?
No. This is radio. We work 24/7, 365. I hadn't, up until this past week, I hadn't had a vacation in 7 years, and I'm pretty sure that Richard hasn't taken a vacation in 15.
Oh,
So
yeah. I'm telling you, just having a half a day off really clears my head, it helps. It does.
And I take it back. I did have a vacation 4 years ago. We took 2 weeks and I went with them. But, it's just we don't have as many shows as we did before. And it's an election season. And this is an incredibly important time for radio and for us as well. So,
Right.
let's see here.
So I might have to move it to the 3rd. I don't know if you guys record on the 3rd. Do you record on the 3rd?
I am available. I'm not sure. Richard, can you make yourself available?
Is it a
or
regular?
July the 3rd? Yes.
Yeah, if it's a regular,
It's a Tuesday.
yeah,
I mean,
it should
no,
be.
it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
That should work.
Okay. All right. That's the only one I'm worried about handling. Because I'm not going to try to do it on the road again. I know better.
It's weird. I've done shows from on the road and sometimes they sound great. And then other times it's a nightmare, but they still sound okay. And then there's other times it's a nightmare and it sounds like a nightmare. So it's
Last time was a nightmare, but it sounded okay.
exactly.
So-
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Cleaned it up.
Yep.
And
All right. I got a new clock here and I am ready to go. How about you, Barb?
Hang on a second. I'm messaging Griff. I think he can do that on the fly. Okay. Where'd it go? I got one of these big wide computer HP screens. It's like two computers wide. Then I use my laptop at home. It just kills me. It's like the screen's too small, straining my eyes. We're still living in the workout room. It's not going very fast.
That cannot be comfortable.
Oh, ends to a means, right? But so now that the addition is pretty much the four walls are there and the flooring and the windows are in. So I took a table up there and I sit up there and I get to see the trees and It's a lot nicer. So, okay. I think I'm ready.
All right. I am too. So I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with higher rates and fewer buyers that can afford a home, I would think that there are quite a few home sellers who have homes that are not selling. So, what are the reasons they're not selling and what can they do about it?
Well, Richard, pending home sales are actually down by quite a bit, depending on where you're at. And the thing that's so weird about this market is it's hard to rely on similar recent sales to substantiate the value. It's just not working. You put it on at that price and it just sits there, crickets. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So, and so it really is important that you price the home, what I call very realistically, when you go on the market, and make sure you get the 3 Ps correct: preparation, pricing, and promotion. And so interest rates definitely have an impact on it. This is prime selling season in Colorado. Our summers are so beautiful. And people come here and go, oh my gosh, this is summer. This is pretty nice. So, but it gives you kind of an idea. If the pending sales are down, that's more of a leading indicator than looking at historic sales. I can feel it based on the listings that I have and how come they're sitting there. Even when we make price adjustments, it doesn't increase activity. So I'm trying everything I can, adding more marketing platforms, everything I can to get that home sold and get it at the price that they want and need. Interest rates definitely are preying on it, and there's buyers are thinking twice. The other thing too is there are people that are sitting on really low interest rates and deciding not to sell because their interest rate would more than double, where they can't take that loan with them. And we have our local associations kind of work against what you would think would be a logical reason to sell a home. As an example, I have a listing right now that their interest rate on this home is only 2.75%. It's a VA loan. It can be assumed by people that don't have a VA loan. And he's offering this assumption. But the MLS rules won't allow me to put that data in the description. So I have to use separate, unique platforms to get the word out. And I have to rely on agents to read the showing agent remarks, which I can't get them to read the showing instructions, let alone the showing agent remarks when they're showing my listings. I have to put up placards. I have to do everything I can to get attention and get the word out. Now, I don't know why they restrict that information. If you do the math on a mortgage that's 500,000 or 600,000 that has a low rate like that, it actually saves the buyer over the life of the loan more than $500,000. That's a gift to the buyer. Yet I've got organizations that I have to be a member of working against that. So that's another problem, is that that's a really good benefit of buying that beautiful home, but I can't put it out there, and I have to find alternate resources to make it happen. So what we're seeing as a result, if we can't put the word out, we're seeing a drop in demand from buyers. Some of it has to do with affordability. Some of it just has to do with lack of information. And one of the things that's very important is you got to cooperate with the buyers if they do show interest, for sure. I had one time, I had an asset manager. So what is an asset manager? I've handled hundreds of properties that were taken back in foreclosure. And this was during the meltdown back between like 2008 through, it peaked out in 2012. But there are still foreclosures going on. It does happen here and there. As an example, let me give you a reason. So here we go back 2021 and 2020. Those years, the market was booming, the rates were 3%. Buyers had to make offers way above asking price, even have some cash money as down payment. But there were some veteran buyers that could get 100% financing, right? So they bought these homes, full market value, more than market value, 100% financing. And then something happens in their life 2 years later. And now the prices have softened a little bit and they're unable to sell that home without writing a check. And so we're seeing a lot of, especially veterans, hurt the most by this. And if something changed in their life, if they lost a job, they can't do the payments anymore. Unfortunately, a lot of them won't do anything about it. They won't respond to notices and even people trying to get them a buyer, and they let the home foreclose. And the VA loan is the one loan that's assumable. So they have a VA assumable note at like 2.5%, 3%. They could even have them assume it and actually have that that buyer make up the difference in whatever was back payments and make it work. So I've worked with these. They're basically corporate sellers. They're either asset management companies. I worked with the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. I've sold over 200 of their homes. I've also worked with some others like, I can't even think their names, but there's a bunch of other companies that end up getting these homes back in foreclosure, and their mission is to resell it. So one of the things that they do very, very well is they never have a house sit on the market and not sell. They sell them right away. They sell them in 30 days. And one of the things, he said to me is, hey, first of all, you only get one shot. So you're my eyes and ears on the ground, Barb. I want you to tell me what you're seeing. What are the reasons why it might not sell, and give us a chance to fix it. I've even had asset managers come back when they made an offer and then change their mind, and they'll go, hey, don't let that buyer get away. What is it that they need? And I think the problem is the skill set with agents is not that good. Like, they don't try to keep a buyer engaged when things go south. So they just go, oh, okay, we're moving on. We're going to do something else. But it might be maybe just a small price adjustment might keep that buyer in the game. You don't know. And so here's the problem right now. Sellers are competing for the very few buyers out there that can afford a home. In the Metro Denver area, you have to make as a household income over $113,000. In the Pikes Peak region, $93,000. The rent right now is really expensive, $2,200, $2,300 a month, something like that. It's actually cheaper right now to rent than it is to buy a home. So it's hard to convince buyers, hey, this is really a long-term good investment. I think it is a long-term good investment. I think overall the prices over time are going to go up. But if the house is not selling, it's very simple. It's one of three things. It could be a marketing problem. Marketing problem is like bad pictures. I looked at some the other day from somebody. I couldn't believe this one. This home back to open space with gorgeous views. Yet in the marketing, there was no photo that a back to open space with gorgeous views, and there was no mention in the marketing description. Does that make sense to you, Richard?
It doesn't make any sense at all to me, but more importantly, when it doesn't make sense to you, Barb Schlinker, there's really a problem.
Yeah, so there's a marketing problem. And it probably was a pricing problem too, just slightly though, not much. But if you have a lack of showings, it's either marketing or pricing. In her case, I thought it was a little bit of both. And if it's both, it's kind of a double whammy. And the market's going to tell you right away if they don't want to play. If you don't have very many showings, if you don't have any offers, something is wrong. You have to move fast to fix it. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there and expire and not sell. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the top reasons why houses are not selling. And when we come back, we're kind of going to do a lightning round of the 12 things that you can do to get your home sold. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the why a house may not be selling. We know the rising interest rates mean fewer buyers can afford the higher payments, but what are some of the other reasons why a house may not be selling?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with first pricing. I mean, everybody starts their search online now. Even I've got clients in their 80s that are searching online. They're pretty good at it. It's amazing. So you have to get the whole package right correctly right out of the gate, or the market's going to tell you if you missed it. And that's part of what we do with our clients. So if you are thinking of making a move, we can help you in any kind of market. We have just on our little website over 27,915 buyers in waiting looking for homes. And I can share with you up to 700 buyers that would be a high match for your home. So if you are thinking of moving, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. So if you look back on the year-to-date sales going back in the last 5 years, just in the Pikes Peak region, as an example, I know this show goes out to other markets, but it's a pretty good benchmark. It's probably no different in those other markets. You know, the market was fairly moderate in 2020, started really accelerating in 2021 and 2022. That's when rates were low and prices were driven up. Now, 2023, the number of sales were less than 2020. And 2024, the number of sales are about 10% less than they were just last year. So what that tells me is fewer people can afford homes, right? And there's a lot of people just sitting on their home equity, not doing anything about it because they're sitting on low interest rates. It's almost like free money. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale, that is what we do. But here's the reason why they're not selling. If right now the average days on market, Pikes Peak region, 36 days. It depends on the neighborhood though. Some are 90, some are 30, some are less or more. If you're not getting showings, the market's going to tell you. Take a really critical look at certain things. Pictures. What's the competition look like? What's the condition of your home? What's the feedback? How's your price look up against the competition? If it's priced too high, if your home needs work, that could play into it unless it's priced below market value. If your home has poor curb appeal, if your photographs aren't bad, I still to this day see agents that are too cheap to spend the $200 or $300 to get professional photos, and they use their iPhone or smartphone, whatever they have, okay? And guess what? They don't look good. The buyers pass it by just on the poor quality of photos. You need to know what the buyers are thinking. And you can't have a emotional attachment to the home. A lot of people love their home for very different reasons, but at the end of the day, the buyers are trying to find the best home for them, and you have to position it to be the best home. And don't be afraid to get a second opinion if your home is not selling. You're not cheating on your agent if they're failing you. They haven't done the job that you hired them to do. They might be offering a low commission, but if the home is not selling, commission is absolutely zero. It doesn't get you the goal that you want, which is to sell your home. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing taxes on the profit on the sale of your home. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. Yeah. You know, if ever there was a movement that was accurately titled, it was that Tea Party thing where it was taxed enough already. You know, there was a thing I saw on TikTok, and it was just going through all of the ways that you get taxed from, you know, the minute you have your check stub to you're getting taxed on gas, you're getting taxed on dying, you're getting taxed on an inheritance tax, you're getting, I mean, it, and then at the end of it, it said, and to think that we started an entire revolution over a couple of cents on a breakfast beverage. And I'm like, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I went a little off script on that one. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no. tell me it's not true. Or, you know what? When you go, I gotta say, sometimes you do that, and it's never bad. It is never bad. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty honest. If there was a time where it's like, what the hell is she talking about? And she needs it, just hit the stop button, DJ. I need to talk to her, get her back on script here. It's never happened.
Well, I tried to circle back to what I'm, so I
Yeah.
don't get lost in the game because it's easy. There's a ton of drama stories. I'd say at least once a week, my blood pressure is exploding. I had somebody last week threaten to sue me and my clients. I'm like, okay, you're trying to get stuff and you're threatening to sue me. I don't see the logic in that.
Give me
But
the short version of that, because I get that from time to time. And, I just, the people who threaten to do that usually have no standing to do it. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They expect that if they just say that to you, you're going to cave. Oh my God, I don't want to get sued here. What do you want to make this thing go away? Here, take everything you need. I mean, I don't know. I have no respect for people like that. Sometimes, yeah, there is a lawsuit there, and you don't have to threaten somebody. You just have to say, look, neither one of us wants to end up in court on this thing. There ought to be some way we can get this thing resolved short of that. So let's talk. I mean, I don't know. I am so sick of that from 7.5 years of being an attorney and people saying, well, I guess I'll see you in court. Yeah, well, I guess so. That's where I'm at every freaking day of the week. That's my home court. I looked at it because you can look it up. They have this big book in Chicago. I could look Barb Schlinker, and then I could see over the course of your career how many jury trials you had and how many bench trials you had. So I can find out whether when you say I'll see you in court, you're really capable of doing that. Or in most cases, I'd look people up, they'd never even been to court in the first place.
you have no idea how much, well, but most people have no idea how much it costs.
Right.
That is the key. And I think, anyway, what the story is, neither the buyer nor the seller have very much in the way of assets, right?
Right.
And the seller inherited this home, and there were some mistakes made by his parents. So his dad, back in 2011, refinanced. First of all, the home and the loan was only in his name. In 2011, he refinanced it, put his wife and him on the loan. I think he meant to deed it both to he and his wife, but what was recorded was the mortgage instrument, the deed of trust, not the quitclaim deed. And the county missed it and put he and his wife in title. So he took that document down, and they screwed up and put the husband and the wife in title with a deed of trust, which that's not a deed. You know what that is, right?
No, but it seems like this thing is just winding tighter and tighter and tighter.
How you repay a mortgage. It's just it's basically how you repay the lien against the house. That's what that thank you for helping me clarify it. But anyway, so fast forward, dad dies. Okay. And then mom gets sick. They had another house they sold. I helped him sold a house a couple years ago. Mom gets sick. So he has power of attorney for mom, and then signs over deeds title from mom to him with his power of attorney, which is probably a little sketchy. Right. I don't know if it's legal or not, but at the end of the day, neither his mom nor him are legally entitled. So mom dies, right? And now they're in this house and they're trying to sell it. And so we didn't know about this because it all looked legit on the assessor site until the title company came into it, and they went, oh, wait a minute. You can't sign over title with a mortgage document. You have to have a quitclaim deed or something.
Something.
So anyway, that's the snafu that we had. So it was a house that was priced under market. We had 10 offers, a lot of competition. And the agent tried to pull a sneaky. So she asked for repairs. They're like, no, we're not doing that. Well, we need to stay in, because I told her about the title issue. We're going to need more time. That's fine. Okay. So she started sending amendments like every 12 hours over the weekend and blowing up my phone. I need an answer. I need an answer. I need to sign it. And I'm like, no, I don't work that way. There were so many that she sent and withdrew and sent and withdrew and sent and withdrew. There were probably 4. The 4th one, I admit I made a mistake and didn't read it. The 4th one lowered the price by 15,000. And I sent it to the seller to sign, and she caught it. Thank God. Otherwise, I'd be stroking a big check on that one. But anyway, so I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So they were trying to get a price concession because they're taking it as is. We're not doing that. And then she's like, well, okay, well, we're under contract until June 17th. If you don't extend it, you are obligated to sell this house to my buyer, and they're going to take you to court and make you sell it to them. And I'm like, they can't even sell it right now. She's freaking, threatened to sue me. It was like, okay, what I said to her was, first of all, if you're under contract, both parties have to agree on any changes, right? You can't just say, you must agree or I'm going to sue you. And that was basically what she was saying. I said, no, I think you need to talk to your broker. I said, I don't think so. And then I sent this scathing email and said, you can't talk to me anymore. You can't text me anymore. I'm blocking you off my phone. Only communicate with your broker. I'm done. That was threaten me or my clients. We are not in the friend zone anymore in any way, shape, or form. So we are even.
I don't know how you put out. I literally would go crazy. Although I've got enough antagonism on the show myself. All right, David's got a 1 o'clock, so we need to crank here.
You can do it.
I know we can. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers worry that they have to set aside money to pay capital gains taxes when they sell their homes. What are some of the tax issues that home sellers must know before putting their Colorado Springs area home up for sale?
Well, I will say, Richard, in my real estate business, very rarely do I have a client that might be facing capital gains taxes on their home. So they changed the laws back in the late 90s. But if you weren't selling a home at that point, you probably didn't pay any attention to it. And the way it used to be, if you sold a home, you would have to take your equity and reinvest it in a more expensive home. Otherwise, you had to pay capital gains on that money. So they completely changed that law back in 1998, which was a good thing. And they basically said, if you're not married, and when you sell a home that you've lived in 2 of the last 5 years, if you profit 250,000 or less if you're not married, or 500,000 or less if you're not married, that money is tax-free and you don't have to reinvest it in another home. So how you calculate the profit is not necessarily how much you're going to net when you actually sell the home. The way they figure it out is basically you look at what you paid for the home, you add on top of it all the money you put into it. Then you take the sales price minus off the cost. And if you netted more than either 250,000 single or 500,000 married, then you may have to pay capital gains. My name is Barb Schlinker. I've been here in the real estate business since the mid 90s, and I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've helped thousands of sellers sell their homes, and I don't see this come across my desk very often. Now, if it's an investment property, it's a different story. We'll talk about that in a second. But in general, if you've lived in the home 2 of the last 5 years and you have not used the home for business, and you haven't sold another primary residence, then you can pocket that money and do whatever you want with it. You can invest it in something else. You can go to Vegas and party, whatever. But you don't have to reinvest it in another piece of real estate. Now, if it is an investment property, that's a little bit of a different story. So what happens at the closing table is the title company will have you fill out this form and ask those questions. Have you lived in it 2 of the last 5 years? Are you married? Have you used it for business? And is the sales price over 500,000? If it's over 500,000, regardless of how much profit you made, they are going to issue a 1099 at the closing table. But that does not mean that you owe taxes. It's just a reporting to the IRS. So the following year, when you sell your home, that is when they would fill out kind of a complicated form. It's a good idea to have a tax professional do this for you. I'm not a tax professional. My husband fired me from doing our own taxes, which is a good thing. And you have to just notify the IRS of the sale, but they do this calculation proving that you did not gain more than 250 or 500,000, whichever is appropriate. So how do you find out whether or not you have to pay more taxes? First of all, absolutely talk to your tax professional. It applies to the year that you sell your home, okay? And there's a whole bunch of exceptions to this capital gain law. One of them is actually military relocation or a job transfer. Both of those qualify for an exception. So let's say you move to Colorado right at the perfect time. Like you get here in 2017, you sell it in 2022, and you make a nice profit, right? Or let's say it's 2017, sell it in 2019. You haven't lived there quite for 2 years. You won't have to pay capital gains if you can substantiate either military relocation, job transfer, moving for medical reasons. I get a lot of people that have to move because over time, as some folks get older, they really have difficulty with the elevation and feel more comfortable in lower elevation. But basically, the way you calculate how you do it is you figure out what you paid for the home. You add on top of that all the improvements that you put in your home. You add on top of that your selling costs, which would be commission, taxes, all that stuff, and title, all those things. And then you subtract the sales price minus all those expenses, and that is, quote, your gain. It's not the same as you're writing off, like if you had a mortgage in there, it has nothing to do with it. It's basically what you paid, what you added on top of it, and did you profit more than 250,000 on the sale. Now, if you're selling a rental home, it's a different game. If it's a rental home that you did not live in for 2 of the last 5 years, over the course of owning that home, typically the IRS will force you to write off what they call depreciation. So your basis lowers every year you own that property because it's depreciating. They divide it by 26 years or something like that. But you'll have expenses. You also have to add on top of that what you earn for rent. We've got a rental property right now, and we bought it in 2020. We put a lot of money into rehabbing it because it was kind of an 80s time warp. And then just last year, we put in air conditioning, which meant we also had to add a new electrical panel. So that was pretty expensive. So I don't think we'll have much of a gain just because of all of the improvements that I put into the property over the year, a couple of years when we sell it. And property taxes are a different thing. So property taxes are for like the county taxes. What we're talking about here is IRS taxes on the profit, just so you know that. So if you are selling an investment property, one of the really cool things that you can do is called a 1031 exchange. Now, basically the way that works is when you sell a property that's been an investment property, you have a exchanger participate in the sale. It costs, the closing costs are an extra $750. And this person basically at closing captures all of the profit out of the sale of that rental property. And then you go buy another investment property that's similar. Basically, you have 45 days to identify the property from the time you close, and a total of 6 months to close on it. So you've got kind of a short window to identify your next property, basically. But the profit from the sale gets rolled into the next profit, and you can't touch any of the money that came out of that sale. But it's a way to basically delay any capital gain. And you can do this until you're 110. You could keep rolling it over into the next property, etc. But don't take my word for it. I highly recommend you talk to a tax professional, because with these particular rules, there are a ton of loopholes that you really need to know about. And no, you don't have to, if it's just your primary residence, you really don't have to reinvest it in another home. And so when you are selling a property, you really want to hire an agent that has knowledge and experience in this kind of thing. People don't sell homes very often, and there's a wide range of experience out there. So you really want somebody that has the knowledge and the expertise to give you good guidance, because you don't want to be surprised. At least if you do a 1031 exchange on a rental property, you've got some time, but you want to plan it at least 2 weeks in advance prior to closing, that you do that and get all the systems set up if you are going to do a 1031 exchange. And that's part of what we do. We'll sit down, we'll go over with you what to do, what not to do to get the house ready for sale, give you a really good idea what your home will sell for, how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. And if we need to calculate what we guess capital gains will be, we can do that in that case. Or give you some references of who can do a 1031 exchange to delay that taxable income on a rental property. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And we can also bring you cash offers as well. So give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You want an agent who has the knowledge and experience to help you with solutions to your home sales problems, regardless of your situation or your budget. Barb's team can get ready. Let me do that whole thing again. I didn't like it. 3, 2, 1. You want an agent who has the knowledge and experience to help you with solutions to your home sales problem, regardless of your situation or budget. Barb's team can get you ready. Barb and her team have the cash offer program and the offer of 100% of market value, or Barb will pay you the difference. To find out more, give her a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the top 5 ways that real estate agents actually prevent sales. Plus, we'll talk about Barb's hot new listings. Stay tuned for that. There we go.
I came up a little short on the time on that one.
I mentioned that to Dave, and he said that that was not a problem.
Okay.
I think he's bragging that he can basically do it any which way he wants to, I think is what he's saying. And actually I just looked at the clock. It was a little bit sharp, but it wasn't as short. For a while there, I'm like, whoa, this is gonna be really short, but it's not. So
I don't know what
good.
happened. It's okay.
No, it just means that I can leave a minute in the second segment that I wouldn't have been able to had you gone long.
Oh, there you go.
He swears that it's not sorcery, but I'm not all that convinced. Let me grab something off the printer.
I think I started with the last segment. No. I have such a schizophrenic brain. When I prep for the show, I don't always do the first segment first. I don't know why. gonna step out just for a second.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta remember to call my son. It's his birthday. So,
Birthday is today?
yeah, June 11th, 95.
I gotta tell you, I think about him and his friends all the time. I've got some friends who are in trouble health wise, and so I started praying more frequently. I mean, I always pray, but now I pray a lot more frequently. And it's amazing when you start praying. I've got a guy down in Texas. He's probably dying of lung cancer. And it's amazing. You start out praying for him, but before you're done, you end up praying for a lot of people, and your son and his friends always are in there. So,
Yeah.
and
He's
I've
got,
got, you know what? Go ahead.
got one friend that was born with neuroblastoma.
Really, that's that. I am kind of familiar with that. There was a big area in Illinois where they had a ton of cases of that.
Anyway, he's such a optimistic, friendly young man. I mean, they basically grew up together. They went all through elementary school. They've been friends for years. Like they play video games online all the time still. And they never drifted apart. But he just went through another cancer surgery, I think on his knee, had a big knee replacement.
Gosh dang.
But
And he's the same age as your son, right?
he bounces back to work, like it's nothing. It's amazing.
I don't
Um,
know.
but they're going out there this weekend, his two friends. I guess the military's giving them a bunch of extra time off because of Juneteenth, which I don't even know what that's for.
Okay, so quick version of it. I can't believe the military is doing this. So after the Emancipation Proclamation, technically, Lincoln said he is free. Oh, it is a federal holiday. Okay. So he frees the slaves, except Texas was they're Confederate. They're so far out here that they didn't tell the slaves. And the malicious idea is that, well, actually, they didn't tell them, so they got a couple of extra years of work out of them. I think that's probably true, but eventually they started getting some ships into Texas from other parts of the nation. And some of the people on the ship would talk to some of the people on the shore. And next thing you know, people in Texas, slaves are finding out, wait, we're free. So when I first found out about it, I'd never heard about it until I was in television. And two of the people I worked with were from Texas. And so they told me about that because I think it was maybe a Texas holiday or something. And then it became a big national holiday, which is okay. But, this is just how I am. If we had a holiday to celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation, I'd be on board with that. This feels like a backhanded insult to Texas to say, well, you guys tried getting away with this, but we caught you. Now we're going to have a celebration about that. But that's what Juneteenth is.
Yes, I don't know which day is off. It looks like it's 19th. Is that right?
I don't take days off, so I don't
It's
know.
a Tuesday.
Right. It's a Tuesday. So anyway, so his friends are off. So it's like he has the whole week off. So they're going to come out and hang out. So I hope they have fun. So,
Oh, that is good.
yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. Let's see. It looks like I am ready to
Wednesday,
go.
Thursday, Friday, or something. Big long break. That's good.
It's so weird when your kids, at least for me, when the kids were at home and stuff. Oh my gosh, the holidays were so important. We go do this, go do this. Now we just don't go do much of anything. But it's the catch-22 where it's like they're both with pretty serious, I think, going to be husband and wife. So they're already trying to divide their time between a couple of different families, and one's in Texas and all of the rest. And
Okay.
what
What ages are they?
let's see, Jason is 23 and Jenna is 22.
They're young. They're
And
ready.
yeah, but like I said, a couple of months here, one will be in Omaha, the other one will actually be in Parker. So she'll be fairly close. And then the girlfriend is going to be in Kansas City. The parents are in Texas. And then I guess her parents are in Colorado. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but it's just
A lot.
it's a lot. And in all honesty, everything that we have control over defers to my in-laws because he's not doing very well health-wise. So it's unspoken, but it's always like, okay, is this going to be the last Easter with Grandpa? Is this going to be the last 4th of July with Grandpa? So they go there and I'm fine with it. I mean, he's an old guy and can't get around very much. So it's good that they're looking out for him. All right, I got a clock.
Okay.
I'm all set. David gives me the nod. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and the program is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and the market keeps changing week after week. There are new developments. Barb, you stay on top of all of them. Now, Barb, some homes sell very quickly and with a lot of offers. What are some examples of things that real estate agents do that create problems with real estate sales?
Well, there's a long list, but basically, the high demand homes typically are going to get multiple offers. And if the agents know that, they're going to come in and hopefully make their best offer and try to influence the seller to accept their offer. Like I have one under contract now that was priced well below market. It needs some cosmetic repairs, but nothing major. We had a total of 70 at the 2 short open houses, and we had 10 offers, and the sellers picked the buyer that worked best for their life. So I've had some agents that don't want to follow my system, and that's okay. You know, I still have to present all offers, except that I've had them actually just shove an offer before we were even starting to show. And that makes me a little bit nervous, because if the buyer hasn't seen the home and they're just throwing an offer on it, there are probably, I don't know, 8 to 12 what I call off-ramp clauses in a estate contract where the buyer can bail out of the deal. They could bail out if they don't like the paint color. They could bail out if they don't like their loan. They could bail out if they don't like the inspection, if they don't like title, if they're not happy with the appraisal. At the final loan underwriting phrase, there's all these different opportunities for them to walk away and get their earnest money back. No harm, no foul. Yet the seller really doesn't have very many outs. There are basically 2, and the buyer has the opportunity to stay in the game if they don't agree. Here's an example. Let's say they ask for a bunch of repairs. I just had this happen where they came in, they said, I want a new roof, a new sewer line, and fries with that too. And the seller's like, no, we checked the roof. The insurance didn't honor the claim. Roofers are saying it's a minor repair, and the sewer line is fine, according to a plumber. So no, we're not going to fix it. And so if the buyer said, okay, I'm going to withdraw my objection and buy it anyway, the seller can't get out for that reason. Another one would be the appraisal. An appraisal is basically if the buyer's getting a loan, it'd be an opinion of value where an outside party, a licensed person, comes in and says, okay, your home is worth X. As long as the appraised price is at or above the contract price, then the buyer is able to get their loan. They're moving forward. Now, the appraiser could ask for some repairs in order to meet what I call the loan guidelines. But it doesn't say in the contract, all it says in the contract is that the buyer has to tell the seller that they are going to need some lender property requirement repairs, but it doesn't say who has to fix it. In fact, it doesn't obligate the seller to fix it at all, but the buyer could fix it, right? And still move forward with the contract. So it basically kind of forces the seller to tie up the property the way our state contracts are designed. And that could be a problem if the seller decides, you know what, I'm not going to do this right now. That's why I always ask them when it's contract time, are you sure you want to do this? Because sometimes, you know, things change and they may decide to keep their house, and that's okay. So some of the problems that we run into with real estate agents are that, you know, I've had agents kind of push forward and say, I had one just last summer where we activated the listing. The seller decided not to start showing the house until that weekend. So here it is Wednesday before that weekend, and I get a full price cash offer on the home, but the buyer hasn't seen the home. Now, this particular home, back to Academy, is kind of a busy street. And I'm like, you know, I'm not really comfortable with tying up the property and canceling all the showing demand that we had created, not knowing whether or not the buyer really was committed to buying the home. So I coordinated with the seller, made arrangements for the buyer to come and look at it before we canceled any other plans. And they did look at it, and they did end up buying it. So that worked out well. But it would have been really bad if it went the other way, where they took the offer and then the buyer came and looked at the house and said, you know, it wasn't what I thought. Never mind. And by then, we've created all this demand destruction on their home. So it will eventually sell, but it's not the best way to do it. So I get very nervous at the sight unseen offers, because the agents know for sure that they could walk away at any time with their buyers, and yet the sellers have to commit to them and show it under contract in the MLS, and that stops any other buyers from looking at the home. So it's frustrating for me. I had one a few years ago where they made an offer. I met with the seller. We spent all this time creating a counter proposal that really didn't counter price, just a few little details. And we sent it to the buyer's agent. She goes, "Oh, never mind. They bought another house." I'm like, "What?" So that told me what they were doing was what I call lock and shop, or the shotgun approach to making offers. We'll make offers on 3 or 4 homes, and whichever one you like the most, you can just accept, which is insane. And I don't agree with that. I think it's very unethical, but I know people do it. They're all about the money, get the money, that kind of thing. So as far as the showing activity, some agents show up late, some show up early. That one property I just told you about that had a bunch of people at the open house, the only showings were the short open houses. So these buyers and their agents took it upon themselves to just send their buyers over to the property at any time, willy-nilly. So the seller found some lady in their front yard at 9:30 at night asking to get in. She found somebody in their backyard getting a bid to take out a tree. This is before we went under contract. So it's amazing how rude people can be. But I see that kind of thing happen all the time. And why are agents this aggressive and this careless? I think a lot of it has to do with just the facts. 81% of agents sell 3 or less homes a year. And if they caught a fish and they're getting ready to get that buyer under contract, they're all about the money. And here's the problem. This National Association of Realtors settlement that we talked about, it's going to mean the end of commission entitlement to these agents as it stands right now. And so far, the date has been slid out another month, that this won't go into effect until August 17th, that there'll be no commission offered in the MLS. So until then, whatever commission is offered in the MLS must be paid if that agent brings a buyer and they go under contract and they close. So sometimes there's a lot of deception going on out there in the industry. And it's really, really frustrating for buyers because they don't know how it works. Basically, they, are trying to get a house and they're like, "Oh, okay, this is the way you're supposed to do it. Let's just go for it." So I think some agents don't really have knowledge of the market. They don't have expertise. They're not trained. That was my experience when I first started in the industry. In fact, I was shocked. I came from the military and a tech world, and I felt like, okay, don't you have a system or a process or things that you say and things that you do? There was none of that. There was only how to fill out the contract. And even that training was pretty awful. And basically the broker's like, "Go sell, bring me some of that commission." And that's how it went. So anyway, I get agents that, call and complain, or sometimes they'll go to the seller directly and go, "That agent didn't do this, they didn't do that." Or I've had them badmouth me to their clients, and I've never met any of them before. That's unethical, but they do it anyway. So I get a lot of calls from agents that can't be bothered to read what we put out there as marketing and information on the property. And I find that frustrating because it's not like they're having to read a book. It's just a few paragraphs, but they just don't want to bother. I've had agents threaten to sue me if they don't get their way. I've had them send me personal texts on my phone. You would not believe what happens. And, I just let it roll off my back. If they do that kind of thing on my phone, for me, that's my personal zone. They don't get to be on my phone anymore. That's just how it works. But, a real good professional agent is going to work through problems with the other agent to get things resolved. And that's what we're hoping that happens. I've had agents tell me, "I won't finish the inspection unless you put in writing that you're going to give my buyer stuff." I had one agent a couple months ago. We went to the inspection to represent the seller, and we were there, and the agent had a hissy fit because that wasn't how she normally worked. And so she actually threatened to tell her buyer to terminate the contract just because they were there. Now, fortunately, her buyer thought she was nuts and rolled his eyes at her and went back in and did the inspection and ended up buying the house. But there's craziness. at the end of the day, most sellers, they want the best price. They want to move when they want. They want the least amount of hassle. So if you get an average agent that drags you into these crazy battles, they could derail the deal just because they get so excited about stuff that has nothing to do with the end goal. Buyer wants to buy and seller wants to sell. So if you are thinking of making a move, I think some of this is intentional, some of it is unintentional. There might be some agents that are jealous, but some of them think that it's their duty to get stuff for their clients without really focusing and not even asking what they want. So it's really, really important that you work with somebody that knows how to communicate with you in every way possible. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Part of what we do is we have systems and process. We get our clients ready to sell their home. We show up with at least 700 buyers that are a high match for their home and cash offers. So call us 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So Barb, we're in a situation now where we're right at 12. So, and this is the part where it kicks back to me. Do you want me to go through that, or should I just go through the little preamble that I do before you go to your hot new listings?
I don't know what I missed. I'm not paying attention today. I'm skipping a lot of stuff that I put in this segment.
Yes.
So I think where we're at because of the time is just hot new listings.
Okay. That's what I thought. All right. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, you're the host of the program and you've got some hot new listings coming up. Before we go, tell us about them.
Well, as always, I love highlighting these. We've got a beautiful 2.5+ acre lot up in Woodmore Mountain, overlooking the mountain range with gorgeous views, priced at $129,900. Fabulous townhome down there by Peterson Air Force Base in Claremont Ranch at $354,999. A gorgeous townhome in Briargate on Smoke Tree at $309,900. A beautiful property that just lowered the price on 9910 Soapweed, $399,500 on 35 acres with views and an awesome garage. A beautiful lot on Nicole Heights up in Woodland Park, gated community, 35 acres for $449,999. We have 2 great properties out in Peyton, one on Gull Lane, priced at $719,000. This home is perfect for the multi-generational families, main level living, plus a couple other bedrooms, plus bedrooms upstairs, plus an unfinished basement, plus solar. Great house. Also a great rancher little hobby farm on a Cowie Way, priced at $674,999. And then a spectacular, almost new, gorgeous modern home up in Crystal Park on Eagle Mountain, priced at $985,000 with an attached 2-car plus a detached RV garage up there with the wildlife. And featuring this weekend, open right now from 11 to 12, 2710 Kittredge Avenue, spectacular 2-story that backs to private land. It has beautiful views, main level living, an updated kitchen, gorgeous home in prestigious Peregrine. And coming very soon, a stunning home on Radcliffe Drive in Briargate. That one's priced in the mid to upper 5s, and a gorgeous home down in Fountain in the mid 4s on Crandall. To find out all about our properties, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com and see our properties there. You want your property on that website because every month we're getting over 700,000 impressions and over 9,300 clicks. So give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday, 11 o'clock, right after Larry Kudlow. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb. the host of the program, at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or listen to the podcast on all of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thank you for listening this week. To reach out to Barb, again, call 719-301-3900. Thanks for listening. Great talking with you, Barb. Have a great week.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend as well.
I think that can, I don't even say that. I'm going to quit saying I think he can make that work because he always makes it work. All right.
Was it
But
just in that last segment too spicy?
no. You know, I say this, but I have never, ever, not once, not ever heard you be too spicy. I'm sure some people out there who are listening to you, or maybe they're just driving around, they can't figure out why their ear is burning. And then they turn over, damn it, that woman was talking about me again. Well, I guess if you just did everything by the straight and narrow and you didn't try screwing people over, including your own clients, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, I don't want to be the Margie Taylor Green of real estate, that's for sure.
I know, there you go, right? All right, so let's see. Will housing prices fall as interest rates go up? Top reasons a house is not selling, what you can do to fix it, taxes on the profit sale of your home, top 5 ways real estate agents, what they do to stop sales. What do you think?
I think the housing prices fall is probably more
I think so too.
than all the rest of them.
Yeah, because the other one, a couple of them are negative, and I think you're better off. I'm gonna take the headphones off,
Okay.
and we'll do it in 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday, 11 to noon, right after Cudlow, right here on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb will be talking about, will housing prices fall as the interest rates rise? Again, 3, 2, 1. Oh, yep is good. Okay.
Oh, it's
Yep.
good.
Yep is good, Barbara. All
right.
right.
Have a
Your
great
hair looks wonderful today. And I always hate complimenting women because